Hey everybody, welcome once again to a brand new Q&A. Just so you're all aware, there's a lot of stuff in this video. Lots of questions, lots of fan art to show, and lots of answers from me. Some answers will be short, some will be long, so keep that in mind. Alright, let's begin with the video. Just want to say, I really love your SFM animations. I'm just wondering if you have any new projects planned in the future. I don't necessarily have projects planned in the future because I already got my hands full with these two series, but I do have an idea I'd like to explore more. The idea is non-canon crossovers between the two series, where it's not really focused on story at all, but more on the wacky, funny side of things. I can't really kickstart this yet because I have to reach a certain episode in TSU first. We're not really that far off. In terms of numbers, it's just like a few numbers away, but not too many. However, I did have two projects in mind, but they were both cancelled. One was an Overwatch series, focused on the wacky stuff, so just imagine TF2, but with an Overwatch paint job. That one didn't last at all because SFM cannot handle those models at all, so I scrapped it. The second one, however, could have been created, albeit with some difficulty, but could have been manageable. It was supposed to be a Dead by Daylight series called Dead by Stupidity, focused on the Killers group, with lots of dark humor involved, and it would have probably had the series to be age restricted. The main characters in that series would have been the Legion. I dropped this series because I lost my passion for Dead by Daylight. If I tell you why, we're going to be here all day, so I'll just say I hated the path that the game was moving towards. The game had a really solid foundation and premise, but the developers were just complete idiots handling it. So I just jumped ship and left. Never looked back. In TSU, chances are you'll be getting a lot of questions. Yeah, I did get a lot of questions. So to narrow it down to one, in TSU, are you doing every voice? As in, is it just you, or is it you and some friends of yours? It's all me, at least for now. Q&A is soul-based. With Vixen switching from referring to herself as human and animatronic, will we ever get to see how Vixen's thought process works? It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. They're just simply aware that they are human animatronics. And I mean they because it's everyone else in the group, not just Vixen. Except for Bellora, she's from Limbo. Question 2. Will we ever get a backstory on Vixen, Mangle, Foxy, and Wendy's family relationship? They're not a literal family though. It's just a way to bond with each other since they are all related in some way. Like Vixen being Mangle's predecessor, Mangle and Wendy being stuck as one before they were eventually fixed. But regarding a backstory towards this, I can't really say for certain how I do it. It's complicated. Question number 3. How old are all of the characters in Saw? They're all 18 plus, except for Bon Bon. How would you feel if TSU became canonical? Canonical? I have no idea. I'll just say canonical. Canonical in some way to TF2's official lore, even if it was as little as just a reference to TSU. I personally could see TSU being an alternate universe to TF2's lore. Magic exists in canon TF2, so it would be possible to implement TSU that way. Have a great day, and thanks for bringing us TSU. You're welcome. It's my passion. I love it that so many people enjoy it. It just makes me really, really happy. Now, to answer your question. That's a very unique question. If Valve, the company, acknowledged TSU in such a way that they turn it into canon in TF2's official lore, I'd feel ecstatic, extremely happy, and I'd most likely break something in the room just to calm down a little bit, just a little bit. Even though that's not going to happen, knowing Valve, it'd be an incredible honor, and the series would most likely get a nice boost of people watching. Great question though. If you wanted to choose your most favorite stand on JoJo, what's your favorite? Also keep the epic videos going, fam. Damn, that's a tough question. I don't really have a top one favorite because I really like a lot of them. So let me give it some thought. Okay, so there's King Crimson because he looks really cool, he's strong, and his ability is just great to abuse. Crazy Diamond because he's also really strong and has insane healing abilities. You could become the richest doctor and mechanic on the planet. Anything at all that involves fixing, you could do it, theoretically. And this one is not known, so like, spoilers for part 7, I guess. Hey, yeah, because who wouldn't want to be happy in their life and have someone encouraging you on, giving you advice and motivation? You'd probably be 100% mentally healthy all the time, and that's every employee's dream ever, or every person ever. What was the hardest video you've ever worked on, and how much time did it take you to make it?
Thanks!
Scratch's episode 3, the whole thing. The episodes in total took like 4 to 5 months to make because I had to make the scene and world building good. I had to nail it down to a perfect fit that I imagined it to be, and I think I managed to do it pretty well. The episode was also really long, so I had to split it, and I didn't want people to wait all that time for episode 3. Questions to TF2. Animator. Hey, that's me! What inspired you to give TF2 characters stands? The concept of stands is something that I've always wanted to see more in the Gmod universe, quote unquote, of TF2. The whole bizarre, wacky side of TF2 with all the freaks, etc, etc. And from what I know, it hasn't really been made yet in like certain amounts to be noticeable, I guess. I mean, someone has probably made it before I even did, but I didn't really heard of it yet. Anyways, stands have also been planned to be in Scratch since the beginning, and they even have a logical explanation and lore as to why. But that will be revealed when the time comes. I'm not gonna spoil that. How did you come up with the idea of the Scratch universe? I've always wanted to make a TF2 series. The initial idea was to make entirely different scenarios in each episode, but then midway, through episode 1, I changed that into one big story, where it all connects, with changes here and there.
To have him here! Are you always there for each other, no matter what situation you get yourselves into? I am always here to help friends.
Depends on what it is.
Question to Foster. How do you know that fire is a distorted's weakness? Has a cure been found for them? To answer your first question, it started off with word of mouth, then reports from our pyros, and now it was studied and tested properly in combat. Now, regarding a cure for distorted, I really want to wish there's hope for them, but this is an alien virus. We can't really have a cure for something that is just out of this world.
What's your favorite TF2 freaks? I had already answered this question in the first Q&A, but it's these bad boys. Do you have a TF2 Sona? Yeah, I mean, technically I do have one, yes, but I don't really use them anymore. Like, I never really thought about using them. It's a spy with mainly these cosmetics. They can vary, but the hat remains the same. Aculite is also called the Ninth. Does that mean we will eventually see 8 other monoculous pupils in the future? It's possible, but I haven't looked that far into it just yet. When Aculite returns, I want to make sure some of his world is shown to the audience. What's the favorite food of each main protagonist, ally, and antagonist of the Scratch universe? I never really thought about that. Heavy Guy's definitely the sandwich. Fixer likes everything bonk related, so drinks, ice cream, sodas, whatever, anything. Jumpsuit doesn't really have a favorite because, you know, he doesn't really talk. Bonkbot can't eat, so, but I'm going to assume, logically speaking, that he likes bonk because, you know, he's bonk related. Yeah. I could see Kia liking a good hamburger since it's an American thing, maybe. The Aculite, much like Demo Man, likes to drink. And the Masked Spy and Virus, I have no idea. And finally, the most important question of all. Is there a kind walker out there who can do the Wheedly crab dance? Please. Also sorry, but I didn't make any new fan art since our last conversation. I had some ideas, but I ended up scrapping them. Hey, that's not a problem at all. Do it only if you want to. Don't force yourself. What you already made is far more than enough to help the series get more recognized out there. Now, about that dance.
Wheatley Crabber. Wheatley Crabber. Wheatley Crabber. Wheatley Crabber. Wheatley Crabber.
You're welcome. Is there going to be custom weapons in TSU? Pyro is pro, lol. There are already some in the series, but I have plans to show a lot more. For P-Rick, why'd you name yourself that? Wouldn't you be bombarded with prick jokes all the time? Surely you would get used to it by now. After the reality check you got from crushing American Myth, including the split-second life or death moment you had, how's your view on life as of today?
I have some regrets. My name being one of them. Because I was too much of an idiot at the time I made my profile. And now I can't change it. So I have to live with that. You know what they say about death. Your life flashes before your eyes and people see who you truly are. Let's just say that I learned my lesson. Even though it wasn't necessarily the best way to change someone. By beating them to death. I guess I deserved it. Like that soldier guy said. Consider this as payback from all the mercenaries. It was a community effort.
Is P-Rick gonna come back, or was he just a punching bag for the protagonists? Initially, yes, he was just meant to be a punching bag, but after so much great feedback from the people watching, I decided to give him a second chance. In the Scratch universe, will there be any romance at all? Nah. If people make their own ships, I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. Go for it. Has there been times where SFM has crashed on you at random? The right question here would be how many times it has crashed on me. But yeah, it has crashed randomly on me for the stupidest things, like moving a limb, deleting a prop, moving the camera, or even pressing undo once. Are you going to put bloopers in TSU, or will that be only for Saul? I think I'm going to keep it as a Saul thing, but then again, you never know. I may change my mind sometime, but I'm not feeling it today. Not sure if someone asked this, but how did Plushtrap discover Beth was inside his head? Were they born from Limbo, or was it something else? Episode 6 will answer this, but I'll give you a short answer. Plushtrap exists because of Beth. Only Beth was born in Limbo. When did Wendy and Springtrap discover about their creature forms? Were they scared that the others would find out about this and kick them out of the pizzeria? I can't really answer that question because it's related to the Underworld series, and it's massive spoilers. However, I can say that everyone in the establishment knew about it because they were all working together, especially Lawrence. I know Vixen moved on quickly, but just how traumatizing was the fun times and Innard's home right before they moved? I'll give you a spoilerless version. People of several ages were kidnapped, killed, and then woke up in animatronic bodies without any former memories of what happened. It's as if they were always animatronics. After a certain character left the facility, the people that worked in the place found out about the experiments and wiped the slate clean. They were given some memories back, but others were erased for their own good. Innard is basically tons of failed experiments put together in a single body. Their home is the same, mind you. They never moved out. The people just got rid of the bad parts of it. I noticed that Lawrence is the only person where we haven't seen his face yet. Will that be revealed later in the series? I'm going to leave his face hidden for reasons that are actually related to the AU itself. Will there be plans for the Wizards and Golden Freddy to have a backstory on how they joined the family? It's not really spoiler territory, but I could do that in the future. Yeah, perhaps. Golden Freddy is a different story though. The mystery behind it is what I want their whole feeling to be. How much angst will there be for the characters in both of your series? The right amount, hopefully. I want a fair and realistic amount until they successfully move forward.
Hey Damocles, care to share us your secrets? Mischievous face. I am not sure what kind of secrets you would like to know of me, but it is best for them to be earned rather than told.
First question, episode 6 when? Second, first question, what is your reason for having the black hat as your profile picture? It's a Detective Noir. It's my favorite spy hat, and the one my TF2 character uses. TF2 Sona. Will there be a kind pyro to help out with the distorted issue?
It's a small world. You never know.
Which SFM scene caused the most suffering? Episode 4, Heavy Guy vs. Kia. I hate doing action scenes, especially in melee combat. Gunfights are okay. Sometimes. I mean, I love the result. It ends up being satisfying for me, which is great, but I hate the process of making them. Some scenes in episode 6 will definitely take that place for sure. I look forward to it and also dread it. Do you wish to do more SOL? SOL. Do you wish to do more SOL episodes in the future? I just love those episodes as I'm a fan of FNAF. I don't know why people keep assuming that once I start making an animation on something else, they think I'm going to stop with the other one. If I want to stop, I will tell you. But to answer your question, yes, I wish to do more in the future, but not right now because I'm going to get my hands full with Scratch's episode 6. In your FNAF series, will there be any new relationships? Nah, the pair of couples we know is more than enough.
Question for Vixen. What was your past life like? I don't remember the details, but I do know that I had a happy life in the past. You know? Before I woke up in this new body of mine. I don't speak for the others, but I know I had a good childhood and teenhood. And I'm grateful for that, because that's probably why I'm still happy with myself.
Here's a question. Are you planning to add another channel on YouTube? Like gaming or other stuff? Or are you just keeping it like that? That's a very, very good question. I have thought about adding a second channel that is more into like behind the scenes stuff. Like showcase work in progress parts of animations I'm doing, tutorials related to things I do in SFM, developer commentary related to each episode. So yeah, I have plans on doing a second channel one day because it's something that I want to explore more. It might be cheating, but I've got a couple. You got nothing to worry about. People have done a lot worse than you. Was Scratch Universe originally going to be a freak-centered story, or was the stand stuff already planned out? Will Acolyte make a return? And yeah, it was originally going to be a lot more focused on the freaks before I changed it to what we have today. The stand stuff was already planned out. Yes, the Acolyte will return in a later episode. I'm thinking about having him return in episode 7. If all goes according to plan, that should be the episode where he comes back. Is the Portuguese in those slice of life outtakes Brazilian Portuguese or Portuguese Portuguese? If there even is a difference. I am a smooth-brained Midwestern American man. Don't worry about it. You already know more than some Americans do. Tell there is a difference between the two. But to answer your question, it's Portuguese from Portugal, because that's where I'm from. Has watching any of your videos got you excited or made you audibly laugh? I think every time I make a new Scratch Universe episode, I always get excited for what's coming next, especially this time because I've been really pumped to make episode 6. Because it's a special episode for me, just like episode 4 was. I know for a fact that I've laughed at some of the jokes or funny parts I've placed in both series, but Slice of Life has more of those for sure. By the way, Dan makes reaction videos to my series if you want to see them. Check him out, he makes some good stuff, really good stuff. He's also Portuguese, Brazilian, but still Portuguese. What is your creating, preparing, and recording/editing process? How do you select what scenes you want to make first? How do you choose to discard or add new scenes? PS, não pode falar português. Well, damn, I just did. I'm terribly sorry, Dan. Now, about your question. I'll use an example to make it easier to follow. Episode 5. First, I write down a rough idea of what things should happen in the episode. The main things were Fixer's first PTSD, Fixer and Jumpsuit's new jobs, showing the new characters, Janitor, Molly, P-Rig, etc. And the general setting of the episode. The map, important plot points. Then I start to work properly on the script, make chapters, sections, explain everything in detail. Everything. Every little thing. Like character movements, emotions, fight scenes, a lot of stuff. I can mostly think of it as I go, but sometimes I have to wait for my brain to click and give me new ideas so I can see if it works well or not with the episode. Third, after it's mostly finished, I can work on the reveal video, which is what happened with episode 5. Then I start working on the animation with the finished script. When I'm confident of a release date, I make the trailer video and give it a confident and comfortable release date so that there is no rushing. I do not rush my videos. And finally, release the video. Now, when it comes to recording/editing, it's quite simple. When I'm done with a segment of the animation, I render it in SFM by using the image sequence method. I don't render it as a video, because if something is wrong in the video, you have to render the whole thing again. So that's a lot of hours wasted, at least 3+ hours. With image sequence rendering, it renders every single frame of the project or save in a folder. So that's going to end up with thousands upon thousands of frames. But you have total control over the mistakes or graphical glitches you find on the way. I use Blender to turn the entire folder of frames into a video file, then render it. I then put the file in the editing program that I use, Premiere. I do not select the scenes that I want to do. I follow the script's order until it's finished. The video mostly remains unchanged, apart from some dialogue tweaks that may or may not happen. Alright, next question. From Wildfire. Wildfire also reacted to Scratch Universe. In case you want to see that, go watch it. From the moment me and my cast watched TSU, I had those questions bothering me for some time. 1. Are we going to see the antagonist from episode 1 and 2 make another appearance? Perhaps stronger. Interesting choice of words there. But yes, both of them will return. Stronger? Depends. Is there going to be variants of the slam from different classes? For example, each possibly having a unique trait. Variants themselves are somewhat restricted by class, but some can have several classes. The slam is heavy focused because he's the one with the strongest arms. Obviously, they will not be all the exact same. Like, a slam could have one big right arm, or a left arm, or even both. And 3, how long does it take you to make a whole episode for either series? Without counting the possible crashes and errors, of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. That's just like guaranteed to happen. For Scratch, it takes like between 2 to 4 months for now. For Slice of Life, less, like 1 to 2 months. Are you going to be moving on in the future, or are you going to keep adding to the series? P.S. I love your series, Saul, to heart, and I've rewatched it more than 1 billion times. I'm glad you have fun watching it. I usually avoid thinking about the future because I have no idea what will happen until then. There's endless possibilities of what could happen, but for the most part, I will most likely continue on with the series until they're over. Because this is something I have always wanted to do for over 10 years or so, and now that I can finally do it with confidence and motivation, I'm not going to move on until I'm done with them. In Slice of Life, will there be some kind of plot in the likeness of an adventure or conflict? Or will it just be stories about the life of Vixen and the others? I'll be real here, I don't know why people think Slice of Life is going to be action-filled or anything like that, really. It's literally in the title, Slice of Life, and you have 5 episodes to get a general idea of what's the premise of it. But to answer your question, conflict or villain is not happening because this is the epilogue of the whole series, the whole alternate universe. There's no point in having an active villain in this story. Adventures, however, could be possible. They could be. I've thought about making special episodes, like one that involves Security Breach. I have that in mind, but I have to think really well about how I want it to be made. Like, I want to make Security Breach canon to the series, but I have to make sure it's done in a way that fits well. And yes, for the most part, it's going to be focused on the characters' daily lives. It's in the name. What do you use to make physics work in SFM? I tried using the old physics script, but it's tricky to use to get it right.
Simple, my fine friends!
I know what script you're talking about. It's really weird to use, which is why I've resorted to the classic way of kill binds. Record your kill bind, create an animation set for it, animate it to make a smooth transition, or change some stuff with a ragdoll, and you're set. How have you been since the last Q&A? Anything important happened? Oh, and will you open a Discord server sometime? That's all of the questions from me. Take care. I've been doing well since the last Q&A. Nothing bad happened, nor anything that I deem as important. It's as normal as it can get, to be honest. I don't have plans for the Discord server right now. Like, I have a lot of work on my hands and I don't want more responsibilities to deal with. It'll happen in the future, but not right now. How long does it take to edit your videos after you exported them? Not too long, like a week or two at most, but it depends. Got a few about TSU. How common are robots in this universe? Are there any giants tanks left? Very interesting first question. Robots do exist in TSU. They're implemented right now as how they are in TF2, through MVM, or Tours of Duty, as it's going to be called in this series. There are particular servers where mercenaries join and kill robots to earn money and other rewards. Pretty much like how it is in TF2. Giants and tanks are still a thing. Nothing was changed. When some of the distorted melt down into a puddle of green goo, is it just for the sake of variety, or is there some meaning behind it? There is meaning behind it. When a distorted melts, it's because the body is no longer sustainable by the virus and has taken too much damage. If they die and don't melt, it's because they can be resurrected by distorted medics or by the virus itself, which takes longer to heal. Do classic TF2 freaks like Vagineer or Penis Cupcake exist in TSU? The classic ones do not exist in TSU. Vagineer and Cupcake are reincarnated and reimagined in a way that fits this series, but balanced enough to not be considered as broken OP. Vagineer is the engineered version of the Distorted, while Penis Cupcake is going to be a unique character that will be part of the story later on. Question: are there going to be other generic enemies with the Distorted? I mean, other types of enemies for the protagonists of the Scratch universe. I don't want the focus to go away from the main enemy faction, but there's 2 confirmed additional enemy factions for the future, but they won't appear as often as the Distorted. Question: what made you think or got inspired about the designs of the Distorted? Reversed vocals, all the values are up for the faces up to the max, and how they act. The original Vagi-class freaks created in Gmod. The reversed voices and the deformed faces are all from that. I just took that concept and reimagined it in a way to make sense as a virus. The way they act is inspired by many horror games and movies I've seen, as I am a huge fan of the horror genre. Why are there so many Scout characters in the Scratch universe? Not that it's a bad thing, just curious. I know, right? It's really weird. I still think about that a lot, knowing I'm not a fan of Scout at all. But I did always wish to create likable Scout characters, while P-Rick was initially a stereotypical douchebag Scout. You forgot the best buddy Bungobot, by the way. Are you aware of the hashtag SaveTF2 movement? Yes, I am. They're doing a really good thing, but they should keep their expectations low, knowing it's Valve. A recent update was released that addresses some smaller issues, but my point still stands. What is your favorite superhero? Deadpool. I love his personality. Are you going to include female characters in the TSU? That would be great. I wonder why. Your answer is in episode 5. And our last question is from Jade. Question: how did you come up with Foster in TSU? I absolutely love the mystery of the dude. Of course he's voiced by you. Total legend. Thank you for that. Foster was a result of the initial idea when implementing the VAC into the series. The VAC task forces are heavily inspired by the mobile task forces from the SCP Containment Breach video game, which is why his voice sounds familiar to some people.
Class D has escaped us. Returning to previous task. We've done our part. The others should be finished soon enough. We will regroup and support their searches.
Foster ended up being voiced by me because during the voice practices that I randomly do sometimes, with voice effects and all that good stuff, I try to do one of those kinds of voices from the mobile task forces. And I really like the result. Fast forward some time, and you got my voice on Foster. I don't believe Foster would exist if I couldn't do a voice like that, for whatever reason. Because the normal Scout's voice on him just sounds awful and terribly unfitting.
Target terminated.
Target terminated!
And with that, we are finished with the Q&A segment of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, along with the animations I made for some of the questions. Now, we're going to the long-awaited, at least for me, Fanart Showcase. There are over 42 images to be shown. So, I hope you understand that I can't really comment on each and every single one of them. I wish I could do it, but man, it would take too much time. All of the images will be shown with full credit to their creators. So please, support them if it's possible. They all deserve it. And that concludes the video. It's been a long time since we've done one of these videos. If you compare the showcase with the first one, you can tell the channel has been getting a lot more recognition and support from a lot of talented fans from the two series. That is to be expected, of course, but I still can't believe how far we have reached as a community. We have grown so much that the work that was put into the two series has been getting recognized outside of YouTube, and I have no one else to thank but you. Thank you for helping us grow and for enjoying my two big passion projects. Here's to another great year. Take care, everyone.